What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for another installment of my Q&A series, Dear John. Today I'm going to be tackling a question about how long should a band or artist wait between albums? Whether it be just an album, a project, an EP, whatever. I'm mainly going to be talking about studio albums because I know one-off singles are a thing, and sometimes more bands they work quickly and then they just want to put out a single, or they take their time in between albums. Everybody is different. This is just, of course, going to be my take and my opinion on the situation, on how long I feel is the perfect time as a fan and both a critic to wait between albums. I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Go ahead and type me a comment letting me know what do you think is the perfect amount of time to wait in between albums, because I know we live in a very impatient society, but we also have to remember that the artist needs time to craft and perfect their art, and that's something that I do respect personally. Anyways, drop a like on the video. Today's question actually comes from my girlfriend because we were having a text conversation about this. You'll see. Let's go ahead and look at the question. It feels weird knowing that this question isn't just from an anonymous user, and it was actually from my girlfriend, and she was downstairs. I was up in my office when we were having this exchange. But anyways, irregardless. Dear John, what is the perfect time frame between musical projects? Talk about, is it going to burn out them and the fans? How long is too long to wait?
What a good-looking question.
Here's the thing, we live in a modernized society that demands things now, whether it be our groceries or our music, our movies, or the newest merch from your favorite creator, whatever it is, whatever is being teased, we want it now. It has to come sooner rather than later, because waiting, that's not exactly something that's in our dictionary, our vocabulary anymore. But the now, getting it immediately, that is imperative to many music fans. On average, I would say that many bands are releasing things a lot more quickly these days, for better or for worse. Some people are having quick turnarounds, or trying to cut production costs by making things more cheaply, or more so in GarageBand or whatever, so they don't have to bang it out in the studio. And I miss that older style. I know that this probably sounds like I have a chip on my shoulder, and I do talk about the old ways, and I'm not even that old, but still, I do miss that, because it's not even about the style of music, it's about the quality of music and the fact that the artist isn't taking as much time. Now, this isn't for everyone. In fact, some people take their sweet time with making music. So, what is the sweet spot? Rapper Kendrick Lamar generally takes about 2 to 3 years between albums. My favorite band, Green Day, takes 3 to 5 years between albums. Weezer takes about 2 years, give or take, and they've put out a lot of albums, with the occasional break where it takes them a little bit longer to get back in the studio. Muse takes 3 years every single time, at least they have since Absolution in 2003. Florence and the Machine take 3 to 4 years, and these are just a few examples that I could think of off the top of my head. However, some artists and other bands are much more quick to pull the trigger on new material and just putting it out in the world. Recently, we've seen a band like Gorillaz put out 2 albums in the past 2 years. Highly acclaimed band Idols from the UK have also put out 2, with their debut Brutalism dropping in 2017, and already they have a new album out in 2018. Nothing But Thieves dropped a record Broken Machine last fall, and they've got a new EP coming out this fall, and a new single is already out in the world. With everybody that I've already listed, I am by no means commenting on the quality. Do not take this as a review. You probably know my thoughts on a lot of the acts that I've already mentioned if you've seen any of my videos, but this is more so me talking about the timeline for things. And after taking all of this into account, how do I feel? What do I feel is the perfect amount of time to wait? Based on actually keeping up with things like this since probably 2008 or 2009, and taking into account the rushed projects, the ones that I feel like I had to wait too long for, I honestly have landed on deciding that 2 to 3 years is the perfect amount of time between studio albums. That's not to say that during those 2 to 3 years where they're perhaps touring or just taking some time off that we couldn't get some B-sides from those sessions. I just feel like everybody these days is using every song they crafted for that batch of songs and maybe trying to load up their album or trying to load up a deluxe edition. I don't necessarily care for a deluxe edition getting released like a year afterwards, but I am by no means against a couple of songs trickling out here and there, or maybe a repackaged vinyl edition for the hardcore fans or something. Just make them available on streaming too. It's something where I don't feel like the fan should necessarily have to buy an entire project again, but I like waiting in between records and maybe hearing the leftovers from said sessions from the last record. One-off singles are increasingly popular these days, or just a string of singles with no album in sight, like Muse have done, for example, and I don't know how well that's paid off for them. I think that we'll have to wait and see with Simulation Theory, but that's just one example out of a sea of other bands and artists that are doing the same thing with dropping singles, dropping EPs. So I leave the question to you. What do you think is the perfect amount of time to wait between albums? I know we can all be a little bit greedy sometimes and think, I want this now, I need to hear this immediately. As soon as they announce that they've hit the studio, we are pestering them every single day to finish it on Instagram, on Twitter, everywhere else. And I have to say, I hope these bands and artists don't actually necessarily read those comments all days, because I feel like that would get in my head after a while and it would maybe make you rush. We're all different in our preferences, and obviously I'm not saying that there's a set amount of time that every single band has to abide by. There are no rules, it's music, and everybody is free to do whatever they want to. I just feel like in the long run, if bands keep releasing things so quickly, the fans will burn out. People are going to get tired of it and they'll just move on to the next thing, because it's like, okay, how many things can you try with your sound? How many times can we get the same song? And I feel like a lot of rappers do that too. They bombard people with just so many mixtapes, so many albums, so many one-off singles. I mean, look at Logic. The dude will not stop. He will not stop putting out projects. And I kind of like that Eminem in his most recent album, Kamikaze, kind of called that out, saying, okay, well, you sold 10 million albums, but you released 10 million albums. Slow down with the projects. Honestly, I'd probably be fine with something no more than like once a year, but I think the sweet spot is 2 to 3. Anyways, drop a like on this video, leave a comment down below starting with Dear John if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of the Q&A. Leave me something that I can answer with a detailed question, and let me answer that in video form if you have something that you feel is intriguing. I appreciate you watching another episode of the Dear John Q&A. If you want to catch up on the playlist of all of the episodes of this show, then tap this annotation right here on screen. If you want to see another recent video essay that I made, then tap right over here, or you can connect with me on social media. All of these links that you see right here, those are in the description. I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.